A YouTuber named the Starbreed notices a bright white object floating upwards and starts recording. The weird object somewhat looks like a street lamp, except it's way up in the air and seems to be heading in the Starbreed's direction at a fast rate of speed. Moments later, it is only a fraction of its original size and hovering directly overhead, twice as high as before. The Starbreed continues to record in total disbelief, not even so much as making a sound, just quietly zooming in. Just when it looks like the unidentified flying object is about to go away, it does something completely different instead. He records a brief strobe light effect and then the UFO is gone. Looking back at the footage, the Starbreed has little doubt that this was actually an abduction attempt on him that was aborted at the last possible second. I'm not sure if this was a real encounter or just CGI. As I said before, it almost looks like the UFO could be one of the street lamps edited. Take a look at the evidence again and let me know what you think really happened here. Well, inside this haunted house, these ghost hunters are lured into the forest. Published by Lomar Mendez in October of 2021, the pair consider whether or not something is in the house with them, and as they explore the house, they hear something.
That was probably creaky.
Their camera's light appears to be malfunctioning, and soon they become positive that someone else is here.
Someone's here, someone's here, someone's here, someone's here.
As they wait in fear, they hear a strange noise from the next room, and then they see the figure. They take this as their cue to leave. While they do escape the house without incident, they're being followed, but the big reveal is yet to come. Well, this is a pretty messed up thing for a dad to do. These two should look on the bright side. This could have ended so much worse. A paranormal YouTube channel known as Exploring Darkness goes on a two-person investigation that leaves them, in their words,
really an exploring video.
What in the world?
I said we're gonna call this an exploring video. Now I'm getting scared. Dude,
knowing what true evil feels like by the time they're through.
Is someone in here?
Here's the roof. Nope.
On reviewing the video evidence, the research team sees a hooded figure at 3 minutes 51 seconds. Paranormal or not, there's no doubt that this is the person responsible for making all of the noise. Freaky, right? Trevor Deely didn't show up for work and his co-workers are worried. He never misses work no matter what. When he misses another day, they call the Dublin police. Detectives check cameras. Trevor is a redhead over 6 feet tall, hard to miss. The year is 2000, so they don't have many CCTV systems, but they have enough. This is what they find. His co-workers were with him at an office party at a bar called Copperface Jack's. They moved the party to a nightclub called Buck Whaley's, and Trevor Deely stays there until close. It's about 3:30 a.m. at this point, and Trevor has already said goodbye to all of his co-workers. He will see them tomorrow. Trevor doesn't go home from there. He's in a good mood, so despite the wind and rain, he goes back to his place of work, a bank that's open 24/7, to grab an umbrella and to talk to some co-workers. Outside of the bank is someone else who doesn't mind the bad weather, a man dressed in all black. They cross paths at 3:34 in the morning. This man has been here since 3:05, simply standing around a bank in the middle of the night for about half an hour. He waits 8 seconds and then follows Trevor to a side gate. There they talk for 10 seconds. The stranger is as tall as Trevor and looks stronger. Trevor unlocks the gate. The man waits for at least a minute as Trevor talks to some people inside. He doesn't mention the man dressed in black, so he must not have felt in any danger, or else he would have no doubt asked for help. About half an hour later is when Trevor comes out with an umbrella. He unlocks the gate and heads home. The man dressed in black appears. 5 minutes later, Trevor leaves his best friend a voicemail. "Hi Glenn, I've missed you there. Just on my way home, all going good. I'll talk to you tomorrow." It was the last words anyone would hear from him. Trevor is on Haddington Road, except something looks wrong. He's in quite a hurry. 22 seconds passed and someone speed walks behind him, a person wearing all black, and that's where the trail ends. None of the other surveillance cameras show Trevor again. He was definitely moving fast in the last video. He could have been running because the rain got worse, but I'm fairly sure he was being stalked. Police were able to verify that the man dressed in black behind him was the same person who was at the bank. Standing outside of a bank for a half hour at night is shady to begin with, but then waiting for a half hour for someone to come out and following them for another 15 minutes home is all the circumstantial evidence detectives needed to determine Trevor had his life taken. They were never able to learn who the man dressed in black was. The disappearance remains an unsolved mystery 20 years later. Not even a €100,000 reward in recent years has been enough to make anyone step forward. With that said, the case was reopened in 2016. The video was uploaded by the National Police Force of Ireland and needs more attention. I would like to make the surveillance video go viral in hopes that someone has the answer. He probably lost his life, but we can't rule out being taken captive. Maybe we can help find him and give his remaining family closure. YouTube team Greg and Heather's Explorations returns to the Townsend Cemetery, where they once held hands with a spirit. Will he hold their hand again? They begin with an EVP session.
A sneak peek of her EVP session.
Hi, Patty. Oh my God. You remember me from last time?
As they're examining the grave of a Confederate soldier, they hear a distant sound.
He was like a Confederate soldier. Something. He was a high up in the ranks.
What is that noise? You hear that?
What is it? Oh yeah.
They then discover what that sound is.
Is that? The water's on. Wait.
Whoa. That was not just on.
No. Oh my. Is there somebody?
You've been saying that you felt like somebody was over here messing with you.
Is someone pranking them? And is the prankster living or a spirit? When they turn their ghost tube app on, they see figures all over the place.
Hello? Oh, wow, look, right there.
Right in front of you.
Wow. Hi. We see you. Was that you that just set this meter off?
And later, they try to convince the spirit to hold hands again, this time with Patty.
Where did you go? Oh, there you are. Can you do that again? Yep, he's right next to you, to the left of you, yeah. Can you reach out and touch her hand like you...
But the spirit is reluctant. Heather believes the spirit is a child since it's down low. I tend to agree. That might also suggest its hesitancy to reach out, and it might explain the trickery with the faucet being turned on. This child ghost is playing games. This clown puppet seems to be sitting up all on its own, though I guess somebody could be propping it up from behind. If it really is somebody off camera though, then please explain to me how this bright orange orb latches onto the clown's head 3 seconds into the video. The orb is just hovering in the pitch black darkness for a full 3 seconds, and then it attaches to the doll's hair as soon as it starts to move. That's too much of a coincidence for me. So do you think we're witnessing a spirit possess an inanimate object, special effects, or what? While exploring Penha Palace in Sintra, Portugal, a tourist was frightened by a mysterious creature. YouTuber YB Normal shares this scary video taken during this tourist's exploration of the grounds. What is this thing? To me, it almost looks like a gorilla, but what would a gorilla be doing outside of a zoo in Portugal? Several in the comments believe it's a panther or a jaguar, but as far as I know, neither are native to Portugal. Unless there are big cats on the loose in this public park, I think it's possible that it's some unknown creature. When 4 teens disappeared in August of 2008 in Melbourne, Australia, a local search party discovered this found footage in November of the same year, near an abandoned hospital. Shortly after, it apparently began making rounds on Australian news outlets. At the start of the video, the boys appear to be cruising down a highway, then further down a dirt road. At one point, they exit the vehicle, and they think they hear a sound coming from the darkness.
In that area, there's sounds coming.
They approach a gate with a sign that says private property, no trespassing. They ignore it. They find a hole in the fence and decide to enter anyway. As they're walking along in the dark, they come across a red substance splattered on the ground. Regardless, they continue on, and that's where the footage ends. A walk into the darkness. They were never seen or heard from again. If you have any info on their whereabouts, please visit missingpersons.gov.au. This highly active haunted house is scaring YouTuber Dark Arts TV more than ever before. The place looks lived in.
But then I kind of feel like someone's been living up here as well. But I don't think there is. I don't think there's anyone. I think it's just, more clutter just stacked up. But yeah, it's definitely eerie place. 100%.
They speak to the spirits that haunt the home through a spirit box.
Was you banging upstairs before? Something murder. Murder? Wow, it doesn't seem like a murder joint, is it?
It sounds like it said something about ending a life, then the spirit gets kind of handsy.
Did you just talk to Sam? What?
Mate, it felt like someone touched me again then.
Really?
Mate, it felt like someone touched my neck.
No way.
Mate, what the mate.
Then it really freaks them out.
What the was that, bro? Rainbow's going up.
Mate, did you hear that? It was like, this is mine.
Yeah, bro.
This is mine.
It was like it was building up then and then you moved.
Did you not feel anything?
It continues to touch them.
Mate, it's like some... No, I'm in!
Oh my god.
Oh, the rip-on.
Someone just grabbed my hand.
This isn't good.
Who keeps trying to hold their hand, although I think it may be a ghost. Whatever it is, seems to be getting more aggressive. YouTuber Lloyd's House of Horrors believes his son and daughter have seen a ghost.
Hello guys, I'm here with my kids and I'm in the room and they called me and told me that they seen something. Where did you see it, Nia? Where in the washroom? Could you guys show me?
Yeah.
Okay, come show me this here.
One of his kids leads him to the washroom, and when he does, this happens.
And here.
Okay, show me. Holy! Nazir!
Did the ghost just imprison Lloyd's son? While watching this clip over again, I noticed there seems to be something behind the door at this point. The door appears to rebound a bit when the boy opens it wider. Whether what's behind it is a ghost or a person is anyone's guess though. A YouTube channel called Urban Secrets is checking out an abandoned building that used to treat people with eye problems long ago. Now the building itself is an eyesore that should have been condemned long ago. Among the cracked walls and broken windows, they find this makeshift bed with a lump on the mattress. Here it is from a different angle. It does look like somebody laying on their side with the covers doors pulled over past their head, and I think this is their shoes down by their feet. The middle is not moving though, so if it is a person, then they are no longer breathing. The group backs away, but they have to take one last look. This definitely looks like it could be the outline of somebody, but since nobody in their right mind sleeps like that, I doubt that they are still living. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. The Redditor writes that this is the most terrified he's ever been. The scary footage shows an attic of an abandoned house under night vision. At the beginning of the clip, Connor hears a strange noise. He looks around a little and, from upstairs, captures something in the window on the ground floor. It's glowing. He decides to go investigate. Down at the window in question, there's absolutely nothing there. Nobody, no light. Next, he uses a spirit box to speak with whomever is in the home. Someone asks him to help and let him out. Another voice says to please leave. Admitting this gave him chills. Connor says this is probably the last time he'll return here. As he's walking into an adjacent room, a board is flung at him. He stops in his tracks and turns around to look around him. Nothing is there. In the comments, Connor explains, it was a rock or a brick that barely missed. It flew past the right side of my head. That's why I'm never going back there, because I feel like I could have passed away. No kidding, there's something evil in this house, and it wants you to leave. You'd best listen. Well, you expect to find some creepy stuff in an abandoned funeral home. Abandoned remains are probably not among the usual suspects. Published to YouTube by RNK All Day in March of 2020, the channel writes, we found ashes inside an abandoned funeral home that was condemned due to the funeral director leaving and hiding bodies. It was located in North Carolina. It was closed down in 2012 after client complaints. The funeral home's former owner was put behind bars for not burying the individuals. RNK All Day explores this home and its unnerving history. Amongst the creepy things found inside are Polaroids of the passed on individuals and a squatter's bed made up inside the building. But of course, the most unsettling thing they encountered was a bag of ashes in a torn cardboard box. According to a timestamp on the box, they were from 1995, meaning they've remained there for over 2 decades. Let's hope they finally received a proper burial. Letchworth Village used to be a collection of 130 mental asylums built 2 hours from Brooklyn, a place where unwanted people in the early 1900s New York were taken to be forgotten, never to be visited, never to be removed. Atrocities were inflicted daily upon patients unable to make sense of what was happening to them or to defend against it. With a ratio of 3 nurses to every 80 patients, there simply wasn't enough staff to keep everyone well fed or even alive. Mealtimes were a mad scramble in which a handful of nurses had to shovel food down patients' throats, often against their will. Some didn't survive. Their bodies were branded with a number and taken to a cemetery in a nearby forest. Letchworth Village did not shut down until 1996, 85 years of suffering total. Now, after 100 years after its creation, the 130-building mega asylum has rotted down to only a few of the most haunted sites left standing. Areas full of activity that a paranormal explorer named Angelo wants to document. On March 2nd of 2020, Exploring with Angelo enters one of the only buildings left standing. Shadow figures watch from a distance as they cautiously make their way through. Apparitions who are there one moment and gone the next. And it isn't until they begin walking up the stairs that the creepy noises begin. Sounds like doors opening while both of them are standing in place.
That basically might have been housing the warden. That basically might have been housing the warden.
Or this low croak right behind them at 4 minutes and 46 seconds.
That's weird. That's weird.
Or when they get to the top and find the doors wide open leading into the dark forest. So if this door is already open, then explain this.
Why these stairs are all made of metal. This goes to a road.
The door somehow creaks open without moving. It sounds like it's being pulled open from straight ahead, and yet nothing is there. Here's the door at 5 minutes and 6 seconds when the sound happens, and here it is again at 5 minutes and 50 seconds after the sound. It's open at the exact same angle down to the degree they didn't touch it. They step through and turn around to look at the door from outside. They turn out their light to see if they pick up anything. Sure enough, these two beady eyes reflect on the wall despite there being no lights of theirs turned on. At 6 minutes and 25 seconds, they hear and see something jump across the camera. When they turn their lights back on, it's gone. They explore a few other rooms, and when they retrace their steps, the phantom doorway opens once more.
I just heard it again. Yeah, I heard it too. Whatever, just keep going.
The top floor is filled with hospital beds. Look what appears right as they ask a simple question out loud.
People claim they see in this place. Shadows.
A glowing circle floats by in response, and soon a bad feeling rushes them off of this floor. But as they are leaving, they hear this noise coming from a different building, one deeper in the forest.
That's what we've been hearing. That's what we've been hearing, but that's coming from the forest.
Angelo is walking towards the noise when it becomes evident that they are surrounded.
What?
They are looking one way when a hiss comes from the opposite direction.
What is it? I don't know. Oh, what the was that?
Up ahead is another asylum building and more voices.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. That's where the noise is coming from.
And this large white sideways face peering at them from inside. As they walk around the perimeter, all of the commotion strangely stops. The forest is as silent as can be, but as soon as they enter the building, they hear the noise again. Something is playing with their mind. Inside is little more than room after room of decaying white wallpaper. When they reach the end of the hall, they hear heavy footsteps from where they just were. This sounds like real fear to me. At first they try to determine where the footsteps are coming from, but this is the moment they need to get out of there fast.
Ever since we got here. Yeah. Oh my god. Jesus Christ.
They faced their fears long enough to stop and turn around one last time to confirm they were really being followed.
Anything there?
I'd say it's pretty clear that they were. A video has gone viral all throughout Indonesia because it's so scary. According to the uploader, Ari Abdul Rohim, a jinn is about to gain possession over an innocent man. An unseen force pulls his foot and then sits him up. It might be acting, but if so, he's really good. He appears to go into a meditative trance to calm himself down. It appears to work, or maybe the jinn has already moved to new prey. I will admit that this is some of the best evidence I've seen that possessions can be transmitted just by being in the same room. I want to believe they're acting, but it's hard to fake that level of anguish and fear. So either this video is paranormal or a demonstration of how fear is contagious. Perks is exploring an old, overgrown estate that's rumored to have a long history full of bad events and cursed memories. The manor itself seems to be in early stages of decay, and judging by these mattresses in the living room, looks to have been taken over by strangers. The house is definitely creepy, but nothing really feels out of place until Perks heads down into the basement. He can't quite explain how he knows it, but he can sense an evil presence down here, something that has not been disturbed disturbed in a long time. That's when he finds it lying in the corner of an especially unwelcoming part of the basement. If an expert could please verify, we could solve a potentially horrifying scene. A YouTuber named Skits comes across a man lying motionless in his car with the door wide open. They check his pulse, which is reasonable, but instead of calling the police or an ambulance, they decide to do him a solid and drive him home to the address on his registration. I mean, it's a nice gesture and all, but if this guy was having a serious medical problem and passes away on their watch, then I'm pretty sure they could be held responsible. Anyway, when they finally pull up to his house, they let themselves in using his keys and leave him in a safe spot. Just when they think they've done their good deed for the day, something completely unexpected happens.
Bobby!
Oh, go. We were just trying to help go.
All this poor woman sees is two strangers standing in her home over someone she knows. She probably thought they were in the middle of breaking in. They run out the door, but since they came here in someone else's car, I'm not sure where they were going, but they managed to get away. I feel like this situation could have been avoided by just knocking on the door instead of going straight inside without at least announcing themselves. The whole situation borders on the edge of being implausible. Do you think it really happened? A YouTuber named Jimmy Maya is in the middle of a windswept field when he finds the absolute last thing you'd ever want to discover while metal detecting.
Okay, well, next target is a bomb. I can scratch that one off the bucket list. Wow, that thing is heavy.
Jimmy does not seem afraid to handle the heavy object, which makes me think that maybe this was a dud. He says that there was once an active base near this location. Jimmy observes a random string of characters on the side of the object. If anyone can use this information to identify what kind of device this was, then I would really like to know. Maybe together we can figure out how much actual danger Jimmy Maya was in at the time. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Emily Strange, this redditor wrote, Victorian child ghost from Ring video camera. Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. Basic Palpitation 47 wrote, just someone's kid, but how would they be on the inside of the gate? Emily said they don't have kids, so does that mean this was truly a ghost sighting caught on a Ring camera? Which side are you on here? Let me know in the comments. 3-Minute Box Job published this video in April of 2016 writing, this is the craziest encounter we've ever had. The people encountered the woman while they were driving. The YouTuber noted that the situation was simultaneously crazy and sad, and the 4-minute video is really crazy as they come. She also leaned so far inside their vehicle that it looked like she was trying to join them. She started showing them her rings and telling them they're real. The guy in the passenger seat was coaxing the woman, laughing, telling her she's crazy and that she needs a nap. She leaned very far in again, and he wondered aloud what was going on. During her next strange string of nonsense, she said she ate a lot of mustard gas. When the guys finally drove off, they were just blown away by whatever that was. Don't Look Out the Window, published in November of 2011 by Mr. Jocko van Heerden. A group of friends just hanging out has one more hanger-on than expected in this scary video, filmed in Johannesburg, South Africa. The young people are just chilling in a bedroom when something catches their eye. Turning toward the sliding glass door, an enormous pale creature is standing outside their window watching. The creepy creature's features are vague, and at first it's not hard to tell if what's there is actually a living figure or not, but then it very clearly moves. Someone in the room gasps as the enormous figure lurks out of sight. What is this thing? Is it supernatural or extraterrestrial? And why is it watching them? I don't think I'd feel safe in that house ever again after this. A YouTuber named RevoX encounters a wild pheasant in the graveyard that is not at all afraid. The colorful bird looks over its shoulder to make sure he is watching, and then takes the lead, guiding him someplace quite important that I'll reveal in just a moment. It hops off the road, and at 1 minute and 8 seconds, walks this little beaten trail of matted grass.
Have you ever seen anything like it before?
That's been trampled over many times before. The determined little bird stops and circles back to the human, again showing absolutely no signs of fear. It even looks straight at him, at the end like it knows what is being said.
There's my mum's grave, and it will remain, as it has done for the past few days, going round and round it.
So is this a real spirit guide or just a pet? Some Native Americans believed pheasants to be a sign of protection and concealment because they like to bury themselves in tall grass. A creepy behavior when taken within the context of a graveyard. They can be tamed, but even if this is a pet, I don't think you can teach it to lead you somewhere for over a minute, and I never see it get a food treat as a reward or anything, so I think it's real. Mysterious footage of a strange event caught on CCTV leaves one man wondering if they live in a haunted house when a bookshelf purges itself of reading materials in the dark of night. Soon afterwards, the door opens and a man looks into the empty hallway like he's seen a ghost. Judging from his timid reaction, thrown objects are a classic sign of poltergeist activity. However, some people in the comments say this was done with strings. There's one book that falls in the opposite direction as the rest. Is this simple physics or another sign from the paranormal?
There's something over here, moving around.
This was the moment when a YouTuber named Mixed Breed Entertainment gasped in surprise. And turned around because he thinks that he felt the presence of a ghost so near. That's not enough evidence to prove this basement is haunted, but what happens next certainly is.
I'll try something real quick. Is there anyone here? What the?
The stuffed animal falls over when a ghost is asked to move an object.
Did the teddy bear just move? What the is that?
Then a ghost orb is caught on camera seemingly coming out of the toy itself.
It just got really what the
Okay, so the toy could fall and a particle of dust could fly over it, I suppose. But when the same thing happens a second time, coincidences go out the window. Paranormal is what I think this is.
Can you move it again? Oh.
Sure enough, there's another orb when this happens. A ghost hunter doesn't even get his equipment fully set up before he detects a paranormal presence on camera. Look how quickly this shadow moves by. The shadow moves way too fast and also turns in the opposite direction as he does, meaning it can't belong to him. Here's the shadow from a second angle, this time taken from the handheld camera. Clearly, this shadow is caused by something off camera, but whether it's human or not is up for you to decide. This video was taken by a Redditor's father while they were walking around an old historic building. He claims to have been all alone in the room, and according to the Redditor, their father is a very serious man who doesn't lie about such things. So even though he is alone, He records someone standing next to him in the reflection of the case. They cross behind him and then suddenly are gone. And when he looked back at the video, he saw the arm and blue shirt of someone standing in front of him. I guess this video would be easy enough to stage. I don't think the Redditor would lie about something like this though. Perhaps if this historic building had CCTV, then we could possibly get another angle of this event to finally solve the mystery. A worker presses the garage door button on his way inside, but the door goes back up instead. I think the door returns to the open position as a built-in safety precaution whenever there's something wrong with the track, so if the garage door gets stuck, don't keep messing with the controls or else this could happen. Thankfully, the corner catches for a split second and gives him the few seconds he needs to avoid becoming a red stain. If it had dropped straight down, there would have been nothing for him to do. So basically, when the garage door at your job is giving you problems, always grab a supervisor, unless you want a chance of this happening to you. If you're looking for a haunted location, your best bet is to choose somewhere with a scary history. Steve Ronan, an American urban explorer, traveled to the United Kingdom to investigate a Victorian-style mansion believed to be the site of a gruesome taking of life. Despite its longevity, the event took place in 2006 when then homeowner Christopher Lumsden ended his wife's life in a jealous rage. She had allegedly just returned from dinner with her lover when the incident occurred. Despite the viciousness of the event, Lumsden only served 5.5 years when he was released on license, the British legal system's equivalent of parole. Intrigued by the story, Ronan decided to investigate at the home in order to see if he could come up with answers. Upon arrival, the front of the house is littered with large trash, including several beds, some broken walls, and what appears to be clothing. At the time the video was filmed, renovations were ongoing to prepare the house to be put up for sale. It is unknown if the trash was from the house itself or was left there randomly, but it would be strange if so many pieces of clothing were left behind. The first bit of the video is Ronan and his team exploring the house, finding it in a state of disrepair. At one point, they find a strange piece of wallpaper on the floor. The same system is seen covering the walls of a room. Written on it are various strange phrases, including Carpe Diem Dungeons Fire, Jungle Truth or Dare Power. What this means is a mystery, and it's a strange design to have as a wallpaper. Things quickly take a turn for the creepy when they find a red stain on the floor of one of the rooms in front of a dresser. On closer inspection, it is a sizable red blot stained into the floorboard that was once beneath the now torn up carpet. It definitely is believable that it's what we're all thinking, since the coloration does resemble when such a stain has aged over time. One of the crew decides to shine a UV light on the spot. As he explains, the spot remains visible as a dark purple under the light, instead of blending into the floor. Also, while it is not mentioned, there are spots that weren't visible when the light wasn't on. Going off the find, they decide to begin a spirit box session in the room. The method they use is simple, as they find a radio and rapidly shift through the channels. After a couple of questions and one false alarm, a voice comes through the static saying, "You were tricked."
You were tricked.
You were tricked. Did you just hear "you were tricked"?
This is strange, as immediately before that, they were discussing whether or not they were deceived into believing another house entirely was the location of the gruesome life-taking. At the beginning of the video, they spoke with a security guard of another residence who claimed the occupied house was the actual location of the incident. However, they were not allowed in and went to this house nearby that is also said to be where the incident happened. Could it be possible they are communicating with something who knows they were tricked? The group hears various answers come through the radio, although admittedly it is hard to hear whether it is actually something answering them or simply words from the radio programs coming through and sounding like answers. Next, the group decides to conduct an EVP session to see if they can hear anything else. During the session, the group hears noises, and something like shuffling is picked up on the EVP. At this time, nobody in the room is moving or talking. They also hear something that sounds like chewing or moving their mouth. After asking a question, some sort of faint whisper can be heard right before the next question is asked.
If so, who was the one who murdered you?
Unfortunately, it's too difficult to decipher what, if anything, is being said as it is too quiet. After nothing else seems to come through, finally the group uses an actual spirit box, which automatically and rapidly changes stations so quickly you can't hear what is being said by the program. Ronan asks if anyone can tell what happened and if there was an event of a life being taken. Soon after, a voice comes through with what sounds like yes, immediately followed by what sounds like someone died. Soon, a male voice comes through with what Ronan thinks sounds like "wasn't me." The moment that is guaranteed to send chills down your spine is when a woman, either laughing, crying, or possibly screaming, can be heard. The investigation wraps soon after, and Ronan leaves with what could be considered valuable evidence. The event that occurred in the home has left an imprint, and not just the stain on the floor. Don't let Randonautica take you to just any random place, or you might live to regret it. This video is a prime example of why.
Alright, going randonauting, and it took us to this shady park in the middle of nowhere, so let's see what we find.
I came across it on a Vietnamese YouTube channel. After doing some digging, I was able to track down the original source to the TikTok account at Haley_AIG. Watch this next part closely. Did you see it? Something just peeked out from behind that tree, but that's not all. After the group crosses the bridge, they see the nightmare girl plain as day.
I think we have to go over this bridge, and our location's a little down there. What the
That would be enough to make me abandon this Randonautica mission, which the team actually considers doing.
What the should we keep going?
But they don't, and then this happens.
What, is she following us?
Although we can safely assume this is expertly composed fiction, that doesn't mean my soul didn't leave my body while watching this. This creepy selfie photobomb is making my skin crawl. Posted on TikTok by WINIRGTA, this woman is taking a selfie in the mirror when something freaky enters the picture. A small toddler-sized figure toddles past behind the woman, but does not reappear on the other side of her. The figure moves fast and looks to be a slightly grayish tinge. Is this just the woman's younger sibling making an unexpected cameo? Or does she have a supernatural elf on her hands? A statue of Sai Baba became a topic of mass speculation across India in 2016 when it was apparently caught shrugging its shoulders, causing a clothing article to come off. The obvious answer is that this clothing item simply came undone and fell off over time, but at 24 seconds the statue appears to possibly roll its shoulder to make it fall off. What's especially odd though, is that at 45 seconds, when everything seems to have fully unfolded and settled, the clothing article jumps off where the statue's hand is, didn't move again. There could have been wind currents from air conditioning or a draft to knock this loose in my opinion. Otherwise, it could have been a simple case of gravity and time. William Sloan has no idea what to make of this paranormal evidence and is asking for help from experts because he admits he doesn't know much about the other side. He was playing with a Ouija board when he made contact with a ghost who calls itself James. William must have forgotten to properly end the ceremony because ever since then scary stuff like this happens way too often around his now haunted home.
Just rock it a little bit. Just a little bit.
Obviously, there's no one behind it or near it except for him, but the lighting is a little low, so maybe he was pulling on a piece of string to make it look like a ghost is moving the chair. Weeks later, William tries his best to harness some type of relationship with the spirit. Train it, if you will. One of the paranormal experiments is called the candle trick, and it involves trying to get James to move the candle around.
One more time.
Most objects, when pulled with a string, will glide over the smooth surface of a table. This sounds different, like it's being pushed down into the table with some amount of friction. William also claims to have been trying to get James to blow the candle out, but I guess that hasn't been caught on video yet. If you're still not sure what to make of this, you're not alone. Sometimes William himself has doubts, but whenever he does, it seems like the ghost has more scary moments to show.
I don't know. Just went a little bit. I'm not convinced.
Even assuming the sliding glass door was open, the timing of the wind gust is undeniable. Much like the candle, William says he's not convinced, and then James convinces him.
Holy.
William has saved the best paranormal evidence for last. This time he gives James a new object, a bell. He doesn't believe in modern ghost hunting equipment and believes a simpler approach will yield the best results. He rings the bell a few times to show James that it works and then invites him to do the same.
You do that. Just give me one good ring if you're there. You see that? Is that happening?
Since William asked for help, I'll give my overall analysis. I think videos like this are hard to fake. I've seen a lot of them, and this is probably the most convincing, because I don't know how he could be faking ghost movement from that close. In other words, the bizarre activity is probably real. A man from Calgary is heading into work after a long Canadian Thanksgiving weekend when he sees the screen to the window has been pulled off and set carefully next to the door. Fearing an intruder, he plays back the security camera footage and finds something even scarier.
Creepy.
The screen is tightly secured, but then it pops out all by itself and lands perfectly upright. A gust of wind that strong should also move this object across a table, which it does not, so I vote ghost. Just like he says, it's beyond creepy.
Creepy.
This creepy paranormal video is believed to be somewhere from Russia. A man cautiously crosses his child's room late at night, clearly frightened by something scary enough that he wants it caught on camera for the world to see. He closes a window that he doesn't remember opening. It's here, he's sure of it. If he keeps waiting, it will be caught on camera. Scary moments are ahead. A pale figure claws at the glass. The sighting of a ghost in the window makes him drop the camera shortly after the apparition is caught on tape. The video is decent quality, but the ghost is low resolution, so I'm not sure if this ghost video is real. Take a closer look and tell me if you think this paranormal video is real or not. Mr. Biggs is a giant iguana who is not behaving normally. He hardly recognizes his owner upon entering his room. And yes, Mr. Biggs does happen to have his own room.
See, there he is. He tried to bite me.
The large lizard fits a single finger squarely in his mouth and clamps down, but a closer look reveals it's actually just an empty glove at the end of a ruler. As it turns out, Mr. Biggs was just hungry and not trying to take over. He might have even mistaken the glove for a big hunk of lettuce. Look at him here at 3 minutes and 7 seconds. You would never have expected this could be the same Mr. Biggs as before.
Yeah, he doesn't even care. Can wrangle him up.
Become a storm chaser or head to the cellar. This homeowner did both when the Cedar Rapids derecho storm blew into his neighborhood. Published to YouTube by E. Hindman in August of 2020. This footage shows a quick as lightning storm roll in, one that devastated Iowa for hundreds of miles around. Hindman said he daringly took some footage of the storm out his window, setting up a camera there before safeguarding himself in the basement. What he captured was half an hour of one of the most brutal storms you'll ever see. The video shows the storm rile up ferociously, wind and rain whipping through while tree branches roll like tumbleweed down the road. At some point the trees are just being thrown full stop. The sturdy looking pine that stands in Hindman's front yard, which has made it this far, doesn't make it out alive. Its stump breaks clean in half and another larger tree falls across the yard. They are blown away with the others. Hindman writes, the damage in this area of Iowa was like being hit by a 40-mile wide tornado. The storm took 4 lives, cut off power to nearly the entire city, contributed to the record-tying $16 billion worth of weather damage that impacted the US last year, according to the Washington Post. A family watches television while one of them checks their phone in the dining room. No one is near the refrigerator, and yet somehow this happens. On a different day, their motion-activated camera, which this family says does not turn on for dust, records this strange light for just a second, and then nothing else for the rest of the night. Everything starts to become clear when this larger light floats into the driver's seat and then disappears. The family's grandmother passed away 2 years ago, and this is what she used to drive. All 3 videos, when combined with the recent passing, makes me think that their grandmother might be checking in on them, even from the afterlife. This girl sobs into her long black hair, and her wails of sorrow are beyond strange. Take a listen and tell me if the cries are really coming from her, or if they've been layered over top. And just when her hair parts, and we see movements from seeing her face, if this really is a roadside ghost, then whoever is filming this should be ready for a serious haunting. I don't know much about video editing, but I will say that the video is low quality, which is a sign of computer rendering, and the upward transition looks a little rough around the edges, so although this video could be real, and from a long time ago, I do have some doubts. This jinn has a sense of humor. Published by Hassan Barbar in May of 2022, the paranormal explorer is in this abandoned place when a jinn alerts him to his presence, yet he does not appear. As the unseen makes more noise, Hassan follows the sound, then the thing starts to laugh. Or is this a laugh? The noise continues, leading him around this empty maze. Soon it sounds like it's breaking something apart, and then that unnerving laughter again. Where is it coming from? The jinn speaks to him, but what does he want? We may never know.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
The scariest things are unseen. Redditor Fire from Thaumaturgy shares this video of footsteps in a stairwell, only there's no one there. The footsteps seem to be far away at first, but then come all too close, but some Redditors think it's a hoax. While I also agree that the footsteps sound like they're coming from above and are running in place, this could still be without the Redditor's knowledge or collaboration, which is seriously creepy. In fact, the Redditor claims he was walking down 18 flights of stairs from the top and didn't hear anyone entering the stairwell behind him. They also say they felt a gust of cold air and have a history of encounters with paranormal activity, all of which makes me lean towards this video being legitimate. What do you think? This child is learning how to play peekaboo when she apparently loses her balance and topples over.
Lexi!
Except when you take a closer look, you'll see that the girl's feet appear to be firmly planted on the ground the entire time. Upon closer inspection, it looks as if she falls over unnaturally, almost like she's being shoved. There's now a fierce online debate as to whether this child was pushed by an invisible force or merely fell over by accident. I know that kids don't have the best balance, so she could have fallen over on her own, but the way she takes a couple steps back also makes me think that something paranormal is at play here. The security camera footage taken from inside a Reddit user's home doesn't seem to be anything unusual, that is, not at first, although the house looks as peaceful and as quiet as can be. In just a matter of seconds, something both eerily mysterious and also quite creepy occurs that the original uploader cannot explain. So I think this is, for starters, what they're talking about. It doesn't exactly look like an orb, but it's kind of got like a trail that it's leaving behind. What the heck is that? That is so weird. It's just sort of leaving behind a trail of itself. You kind of just see it's like it's the same shape, just sort of over and over again, leaving a trail behind it as it flies across the screen. And then at the very end just sort of completely drops to the ground. Even though this kind of video could probably be described as a little more unsettling than straight up scary, it is definitely not the kind of footage you would want to find on your security camera upon waking up and reviewing whatever was filmed while you were asleep. The strange floating white object almost looks like it could be some sort of spinning battery-powered toy, but I feel like if that were the case, the parents would ask their kid if it was their toy and the mystery would be solved. But since the uploader is still baffled by the footage, I think it's safe to say that it was not a toy. Whatever it is remains a mystery. After hearing a sound during the night, YouTuber Jojo Lobster checked their backyard security camera in the morning. This is what they captured. Watch the back right. A figure walks past. Jojo Lobster labels it a girl, but I'm not sure if we can make that assumption. The image is too blurry to identify the figure. I don't know if we can say for certain if it's a ghost or not. Well, there are plenty of questions with this one. I would say there's something there for sure, but a spirit or alive? We'll never know. JB records paranormal activity on TikTok when his car door opens by itself and an orb appears. The car door opens even wider and then you see a black orb fly past. It seems like it could be paranormal until you look at the trees blowing and realize the car door probably blew open because it was a windy day. The first orb was probably a lens flare coming off from the car door, and the second black orb looks like the shadow of a bird flying by. So well over 6,000 people are saying this is a scary video. I would agree unless you look a little more closely a second time. An all-white mysterious mist approaches this home and briefly flies away, only to come back in the opposite direction and fly off camera once more. I was thinking that this could be some kind of bug crawling across the lens until I took a second look, this time observing its behavior. Upon returning, the phantom mist reaches out and actually taps on the door with some kind of ghostly appendages. The timing and placement of its knocking gesture makes me think that this is probably a poltergeist playing tricks on the people inside. Two men go into an internet cafe early in the morning with a few pro tools and the worst of intentions. Hardly anyone is there, and even if the place were busy, it wouldn't matter because they've got their routine down to a science. They pick two seats midway down so as not to look obvious. One of them acts like they're going online, but what he's really doing is helping to cover the movements of his friend, who has already unscrewed the casing of the computer and is now working on the floor bolts that are holding it down. There's a wall on his side, so if you worked there, it would be like he was digging through a backpack or something. Something walks by them at 28 seconds and is too busy on their phone to notice what they're up to. They act like they are looking at something on the same screen as the entire uncased computer gets put into a large plastic bag. They put the empty computer case back to make it look like nothing is out of place. They can't just walk out of there with a big obvious computer-shaped plastic bag, so they take it into the bathroom and dismantle the computer for valuable spare parts and throw the rest in the trash. The clerk has no idea what they've done, not even glancing up as they briskly walk out with top-of-the-line video cards, RAM, and other hardware to sell. Clearly, this isn't their first time, but this time they were caught on camera. Sensitive sensor lights can sense stuff invisible to the human eye, at least this one can. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Spread the Words, the redditor shares that strange things have been occurring in his grandmother's house. One of these strange things involve orbs that seem to trigger the hallway sensor lights. This happened on more than one occasion. The short clip does show an orb rising into view, and instantly the hallway light turns on. Is this a paranormal event or merely a coincidence? Believers in the paranormal commonly think orbs are light energy that is somehow linked to the spirit world. Skeptics believe they're just air particles, dust, water, or other types of photography backscatter. But how do you explain dust triggering a light sensor? While there are plenty of skeptics in the comments saying this orb is just dust, others are prone to think otherwise. How would dust turn on a light? A Narrow Knot 369 writes that he would assume it was dust if the motion light wasn't triggered by it, but every time the orb appears, the light turns on. Others observe that if the light sensor was sensitive enough to be triggered by dust, wouldn't the light always be on? Whose side are you on? Something is with exploring with Tom as he checks out an abandoned mansion that isn't so empty after all. Noises make him want to run away screaming for help, but he also wants to make longer YouTube videos than he normally does, so he pushes onwards.
I'm hoping no one's in here. No one's definitely going to be in here, so I guess I'll be fine. Wait, what the?
Tom doesn't know what to think when a clown walks out and casually turns down the hall without a single glance his way. The clown begins to rock in place, and exploring with Tom actually starts to feel bad for him, which makes no sense in my opinion, because almost no one would approach a stranger dressed as a clown in a busted mansion. Instead of running away to get help, he decides to offer the clown help himself. He never does actually dial a number. Another reason this could be fake.
If I call the police for you, you're gonna get some help, okay? You're gonna get some help. I'm gonna call the police for you right now, okay?
Suddenly, the clown snaps back to reality and rejects Tom's help with a look that makes him take off.
Yo, I'm gonna help you.
In my opinion, this final response is what he should have done all along. Who's there? Redditor Sal 26 Serrano says remodeling was being done in this vacant apartment complex of 4, and the owner of the property was downstairs with him at the time. So who is making this noise? Did you hear it? There's definitely someone there. But whether they're supposed to be there or not is the next question. My guess would be this place has squatters. This stranger in a hockey jersey demands entry. Would you let him in?
Let me in.
Published by Sam Maloney in May of 2022, this Ring doorbell camera captured this man's attempted entry on video. After being dropped off by a white car that drives away, the man walks up the stairs and rings the doorbell a couple of times. He speaks in a strange, froggy voice. He continues to growl at the door.
Let me in. Let me in.
Alexa then asks him what his intentions are, and he responds,
Let me in.
This is Alexa. What is the purpose of the visit?
I require entry.
After demanding entry, the man disappears from the camera's sight, but it's not clear where he went. He didn't retreat down the front stairs. Did he find a way in through the door or a window? You and me are left with more questions than answers. Horatio's wise camera captured something unexpected, a shadow figure. You don't even have to watch closely on this one. The shadow figure appears at the center of the driveway and slowly drifts upward. Well, this could be your usual suspect, a bug. I've seen a lot of bugs on the Lens videos, and this one feels different. The shadow is a lot darker for starters, like the absence of light, and the way it slowly drifts is unsettling. It's safe to say that this one's no bug, it's a shadow demon. You may think you're alone, but are you really? Posted to TikTok by Tayasha, this one is bound to give you the heebie-jeebies. On what looks to be a stormy night, the TikToker is walking around an abandoned building when she spots this in the window. The dark-haired figure appears ghoulish, staring out at the passerby. What do you think this mystery figure wants, and who is it waiting for? This has either gotta be the paranormal or a very elaborate hoax. There's simply no in-between. This entry is a Poltergeist 3-parter. The first clip was published by Adam in November of 2021. It shows a cabinet with a mind of its own. One of the drawers opens repeatedly, slamming closed each time. Next, an object falls from above, knocking a picture frame and another object to the floor. But these poltergeists are just getting started. In the second clip, published in October of 2021 by Weird and the Bizarro News, a soda can on the counter moves ever so slightly. It later slides across the counter and twirls all the way down. Then it begins to jump up and down. Another creepy clip shows a computer lab with a couple of office chairs acting on their own. They wheel around the lab, twirling and then really launching across the floor. If these clips weren't caught on camera, would you believe they happened? This video evidence seems to prove that no matter how much we think we know, we do not know everything. It's always unnerving when a complete stranger shows up on your doorstep, but even more so when it's someone acting like this guy. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Miss Doolittle Tex, the Redditor explains that this man showed up on her doorstep and just stood there, not ringing the doorbell. The video shows exactly that. He walks slowly and haphazardly to the door, carrying some plastic bags. Then he just stands there for a moment, appearing to be listening at her door, before turning around and heading back up the sidewalk. He isn't wearing a mask, and as the Redditor says, left as soon as her dogs started barking, but not for long. He is seen on another security camera, walking along some grass behind the houses. He simply strolls along the water and then disappears, but moments later is seen racing back, jumping fences along the way. Apparently someone had also trespassed on her neighbor's property the previous night. It's unclear what he did there, how long he stayed, or what or who he's fleeing from, but the Redditor didn't want to find out what his plans were. She called the authorities. This man doesn't appear to be in his right mind. Whatever this man's situation, most agree calling the authorities was the right thing to do. Are you ready to spend the night in one of the most haunted places in the UK? Published in May of 2022, Exploring with Josh explores the Scurrid Inn, a place reputed to see high levels of paranormal activity. As the team spends their overnighter in the place, all is still and quiet until... Can you see it moving?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa! Holy oh my what the holy shit! Look at how fast bro, no bullshit.
As they continue to explore the place, gathered in a pack, they hear this noise.
See?
And yours. You can't fake that.
That might be the most amazing evidence in a long time. Bro, I'm actually kind of scared to sleep here.
Then as they're downstairs, they hear their music box detecting motion upstairs. When they ask the spirit to step forward, they hear it again. Who is brave enough to go and check it out? Upstairs, one of the crew listens in, relaying its messages to the rest.
Norse.
Viking. Leave.
Dude, he's straight up talking about you, on God. Dude, this is
One of the messages is very clear, and the messages get more pointed.
Fool, it's always devil like this and that.
Who's the fool?
You all.
Oh my God.
Tell us your name.
Unholy.
When the group suggests pulling their crew member out, the spirit becomes adamant.
Dude, he said the craziest stuff to us already, like, we can pull him out.
Should we?
Yeah.
No, don't.
Yeah, we should pull him out. That was probably the scariest one we've ever had for like Estes message.
Now we're getting mixed messages. Does the spirit want them to go or stay? I'd sprint for it. A Russian YouTuber plays Russian roulette with poltergeists in this paranormal footage, published to YouTube by Dark Ghost in March of 2021. This poltergeist activity was captured by cameras installed in the haunted home, as well as cameras operated by the ghost hunter who was brave enough to enter. The first instance of paranormal activity comes when a camera that he installed in one room captures a cupboard being moved on its own. It scrapes across the floor and comes to a halt in the middle of the room. And after hearing the noise, the ghost hunter enters to see for himself. The room appears empty, but he soon realizes it's not. An entire wardrobe nearly falls directly on him. There is no space behind the wardrobe for someone to have stood and pushed it over. So what caused this heavy furniture to fall? In a state of shock, having barely escaped with his life, the ghost hunter sets up his spirit box to talk with the spirit. It asks him clear as day who he is and why he's here. The spirit tells him that it is dangerous. When he asks what is, she says his occupation. The spirit tells him that the souls of the passed away have heard him. She also notes that they're not all good ones. After a while, she refuses to answer any more questions. When the ghost hunter returns to the room where the cupboard moved and the wardrobe nearly took his life, everything has returned to its place. As he settles in for the night, somehow catching some shut-eye while stretched out on wooden chairs, a spot of light bursts above him, and he springs to his feet. He said that at that point he felt a bitter cold. Once you've nearly had your life taken and feel the temperature drop, it's probably time to pack it in and call it a night. This strange sky sighting was caught on camera flying over Bavaria, Germany in broad daylight. I noticed some weird things about the audio, but first, try and translate this mysterious conversation from German to English if you can.
Nein, das ist...
I know that 9 means no, but I don't understand what was being asked. Anyway, aside from that, listen again to the weird noise that the object itself makes.
Nein, das ist...
I guess it kind of looks like it could be a jet plane, but the wings are too big and it really doesn't sound like one. Tell me if you think this was an experimental aircraft caught on tape or a strange sky sighting of something from another solar system. This is not a drone caught on video, but at the same time I'm curious as to what this actually is. If you thought gargoyles were only a thing of Gothic cathedrals, like Notre Dame, think again. Published by Mr. Illusion in March of 2022, this scary video purports to capture a real-life flying gargoyle. I couldn't find the origins of this mysterious video, but the footage shows chaos ensuing amongst a group of people as a monstrous creature appears in the sky overhead. The flying creature is enormous, with large, bat-like wings, a long tail, and what looks like a human head. As it flaps its wings, traveling across the sky, the people below panic. It is captured briefly one more time flying away. Is this CGI, a real-life gargoyle, or some other demon in flight? Whatever it is, I wish it would turn back to stone. An urban exploration channel called JJ Retro is exploring an abandoned house on the edge of an English village late at night. You can tell he's nervous just standing at the entrance of this creepy estate.
It's time to come exploring somewhere like this because we're in the middle of nowhere, on the outskirts of Slinfold, at this rather creepy house. And there's a sort of haunted feel to it.
Outside, they find a spooky tree with a rope slung over the branch and a plank of wood to step off of. I don't think we need to spend much time explaining what kind of scary events happened here. And when they start exploring the inside, every room fills them with a renewed sense of dread.
Yeah, this is creepy. This is probably the creepiest building we've done so far in our urban exploring career. Ooh.
They try to joke their way out of how scary this urban exploration is, but eventually they have to admit they are getting spooked by something paranormal in the house with them. Weird noises are coming from upstairs, or so they say, but to be honest, I don't hear anything.
Okay, what the f***'s that noise? It's coming from upstairs.
But as they slowly creep up the stairs, I can actually hear the weird sound, and that's when they get it. The creepy encounter caught on camera that they were all looking for.
Wait, it's getting... No, f*** this man. No.
Hello?
And that's when, with all of them on the steps mind you, the urban explorers see a rocking chair moving on its own.
Come on. And that was the haunted house here in Slinfold and with.
Since part of the chair is hidden by the doorway, maybe somebody was off camera making the chair move. Otherwise, this place is definitely haunted. This YouTuber works security at a building that's so haunted, he can't even get past to the elevator without scary stuff happening. It's gotten to the point where he records anywhere he goes because the place is seriously that haunted by paranormal poltergeist activity everywhere. The building has a nice gym room, for example, but it seems the equipment is always in use one way or another. Weird things are always caught on camera moving around on their own when he's out of arm's length.
Para darles una sorpresa a ver cuando vengan, que no saben que estoy aquí. ¡Hostias!
But it is perhaps this haunted playroom area that sees the most paranormal activity of all. So that's a lot of freaky stuff to have happened, but he's been making videos for years, and I've saved the absolute scariest video for last. You're not going to believe this one because it's that beyond creepy. He lives alone and hears the voices of a family coming from his room. When he calls into the darkness, he is answered by the shadow person sighting. The dark outline of a shadow moving in the small amounts of light coming through a crack in the door.
Hostia, la luz.
There's no doubt that somebody was in there with him, but was it planned, or was it a real ghost sighting caught on video? I think when you look at all of the paranormal video evidence caught on tape, you'll conclude that this place is really haunted. He could be faking it, but I don't really see how. Also, with barely any views on his videos, I don't see why he would continue for years on end, unless it was really happening to him. Pouring an abandoned railway house in the middle of nowhere. The scene is set for terror. Published to YouTube in August of 2020, Exploring with Danny follows Danny and Luke wandering through the forest in the stormy darkness. They finally arrive at the abandoned railway house, which looks undoubtedly haunted with the lightning flashing ominously overhead. Once inside, they begin exploring. Everything is torn apart. Windows are boarded up, graffiti on the wall. Danny claims that back in the 1800s, more than 30 people passed away on the railway line outside the house. Those are shoes abandoned on the stairs. They head up to the second floor. In the bedrooms upstairs, there are still clothes hanging on the wardrobe. Danny asks any spirit to make itself known by giving a bang or closing a door. He might regret asking. They head down the hallway and find a strong lock on the door. A piece of the door has been broken clean off. They enter the room and it looks like someone has been living there. A wardrobe stands in the corner. As they look around the room, suddenly the wardrobe is pushed aggressively over, revealing a woman dressed in white. With a pale face and dark hair hidden in the corner, she starts to approach them. Needless to say, the explorers scream and flee the scene as though their lives depend on it, because they do.
Looks well. Can you hear that thunder? What's that noise? Probably rats.
Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.